River State.
16 years.
16 years.
Yes.
Of
Equatorial people and upland people.
Being governor of River State, and in his own strength and capacity, tried and struggled to put an Ijaw man in power. I wouldn't see the amount of dispute that should allow
the
Ijaw people and the good people of River State suffer from good governance. They should enjoy good governance. They should enjoy the privileges of being citizens of River State. Mr. President, in his own wisdom, looked at it and said that, well, it is better everybody step back and have a look and have time
and have a respite, more or less.
More respite to discuss amongst themselves. There's opportunity, because I believe that if I were in His Excellency Simi Fubara's shoes, I would reach out to all stakeholders, including the FCT minister, and resolve this matter instead of destroying the good work Mr. President have put in place.
Yes.
It is quite unfortunate that the event took a bad turn, but in fact, I'm quite impressed with Sir Jonathan's opening remarks, in the sense that it shows capacity and a responsible youth leader for him to focus on the positive side.
Yes, he said that what he said was that it has happened, it has happened.
Yes.
Let us look at a way that we can make it better, right? We can return to peace. That's what he said.
That is actually a very great opening for me. I see wisdom in what he has said. And there is nothing wrong. We can always talk about constitutionalities and all that, back and forth, but what would a responsible leader do, a decisive leader do at a moment like this?
Yes.
Are we supposed to suffer, the remaining Nigerians should suffer from the consequence of just a mere disagreement? And if His Excellency Sim Fubara had actually come out in the wake of the bombing and tried to put a word or two to try and put a stop to this event, I don't think we'll be where we are now.
Okay.
So next time you should try and apply wisdom.
Okay, we've heard you. Sir Jonathan Salokwebre, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you heard what the patron of Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu Support Group Organization, Kwara State Branch, Engineer Bashir has said. He found wisdom in your opening, and he is of the opinion that the Ijaw people should be able to sheath their swords and come to and allow the leader of the state, that's the leader of the state, was the father of the state now, so to speak, the governor, although he's in suspension, so I don't know whether to still call him the father. This is on suspension, but still the governor.
He's still the governor.
So to be able to he should take this. He should take the first step towards finding a lasting solution to peace. Because what do you think? I mean, are your people? Are you behind the governor in the sense that the governor should take the initiative to initiate peace in River State? What's the situation between you with the Ijaw people and the governor? Because the governor is also Ijaw.
Well, Honorable Tassi.
Yes.
There's a saying in my culture that you cannot settle two unwilling people. Now, the concern the Ijaw people have seen over the last couple of months have indicated that willingness to sit and resolve this issue in a manner that shows weakness on the organ.
Okay, all right.
In a manner that shows weakness on the side of other people, which was why he had gone to implement some of the decisions reached at the table of settlement via the president's intervention. But like it has shown, just after we were expecting that roundtable discussion, the minister took a swipe on notable leaders. That is press conference reversed this whole effort. This is the truth. But anybody in Wisho's shoe, that you made somebody governor and then the person suddenly is having a conflict with you, will perhaps react the way he is. Understand my leanings?
Yes.
So he sought a peaceful intervention. And considering that the Senate President is the political leader in this era, being the number 3 man in the country from our region, we went to seek his intervention, knowing that if Niger Delta engulfs in flame, there is no way himself can be stable in his office as President of the Senate, representing the Niger Delta's larger interest. And we made our position very clear that in the Niger Delta, while people claim that the Jaw people are violent people, who are among the most hospitable people. And that is why some ethnic groups that only belong to one ward can also claim
coexist.
Yes, we coexist without anybody being threatened. Today, the Niger Delta people have moved away from our violent struggle. And because the world is fast moving in a direction that requires everybody to develop themselves, to coexist peacefully and in a competitive business environment. That's why war is an obsolete tool, even in the hands of the Jaw people. But when people dare you to your face that what can you do? There's nothing you can do. Sometimes it brings whole sentiments back.
But what's important is making sure that the renewed hope agenda of President Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu is not truncated. Rather, making sure that the renewed hope agenda of President Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu has the propensity to move forward, has the capacity to move forward, has the impetus to move forward with the contribution of the entire country. We look at the criticism, we look at it, the ones that are objective, we apply it, the ones that are fallacy, we try to engage the party to understand that this may not be true. We'll not tell you it's a lie, because telling you it's a lie is an insult. It may not be true. So how be it? Now that you have come to mention the role of the FCT minister. Recently, as a matter of fact, there's this story going around. The FCT minister has reached out. The FCT minister has reached out to Governor Sim. You should come, let them sit on the round table and resolve this. Now, before you answer that, about a couple of months back, before this whole thing started, the president had called Governor Sim and the FCT minister and leaders of Niger Delta to Abuja. And they met and they fashioned out a way forward out of this quagmire. Everybody agreed and signed. But when Governor Sim and the Niger Delta leaders returned to Port Harcourt, he was ill-advised, let me not say ill-advised because I wasn't there, but he was advised, and that advice happened to be negative, because what the advice has brought now to the fore it created an enmity. It created a divide. It broadened the divide between him and his quote-unquote his godfather and the national and the state assembly, and then eventually everything went to places. But before you answer, before I take you on, let's make hear from Bash. Bash, the president had done something at the show.
Yes. Which was for everybody to resolve.
To resolve the issue, yeah.
But you see, unfortunately, Nigeria, a lot of merchants of
because a lot of leaders in the Niger Delta were advising him.
Yes, there's a lot of merchants in corridors of power.
Okay.
That they will rather think of their self-interest instead of the general collective interest of the state and that of their principal, which was the governor. I'm sure that we talk about elders and all this. There should be some form of leverage to try and pull the two parties together. They shouldn't take sides. Elders don't take sides. Elders are meant to resolve disputes and crises. Imagine if they had played their role in bringing these people together. We would be in this studio still talking about this.
We'll be talking about climate change and the
we'll be
heat
talking
right
about
now, and how to leverage the $26 trillion economy, $26 trillion pause that climate Great Green Wall and climate change has to offer the country.
Renewed change of the Mr. President should be our focus, really, not discussing disputes between the honorable minister and.
I think there's someone calling.
Because.
But go on.
Because there was an opportunity to resolve this. That opportunity was put in the plate by Mr. President. All he needed to do was to sit down together. There's no problem. People must judge to get a lasting solution. But to several people's surprise, it became worse.
Yes.
How can...
I saw the governor making some statements that were not apt for a governor to make. I mean, recently he said that when the time was right, that he knows he will call on the youths and stuff like that.
And immediately,
immediately some
response. And if he had countered it right when the first pipeline was blown up, boys,
cool down, no.
And I'm not even. And he comes to tells everybody, I'm not involved in this. And imagine the next appearance on Sunday. They said there was a blast again. Well, I've now confirmed that. It tells a lot of story. Okay, but now I think I saw somewhere where he said that all that were mere speculations, social media stories. But bros, the reality on ground is you don't have to confirm it. Nigerians have eyes, we have ears, and we can see clearly.
Okay, now we're looking at the way forward. We have like Sir Lokobri said, we have passed the point of apportioning blame.
Yes.
What has happened has happened. Now, where we are right now is to ensure that it does not escalate. As a matter of fact, let us return to status quo. Let us return to status quo for peace, not status quo where we were before the state of emergency.
Definitely.
Let us return to peace. We are at least the 27 assembly members will return and embrace their other 3 or 4 members. The governor will return and embrace his assembly members, and then we have a robust politics, a robust democracy. Sir Lokobri?
Yes.
Is it possible in the near future having a robust democracy back again in Rivers State? Because from what we're hearing, the FCT minister, whom I think is not a major player in this whole thing, direct major player, because the major players are actually the assembly members and the governor. Now, but the FCT minister, it is rumored, and we know that to some extent we believe that because he was their father, more or less, plus the governor, that the assembly members are loyal to him, and that the governor is on one, and his other people, and the state judge and other people are on one side. But from the FCT minister has reached across to the governor, from what I hear, and has invited the governor to Abuja for a peaceful settlement. Are we looking at a possible end to this state of emergency soon? Are your people going to support the governor to toe a peaceful line? And then what are we looking at going forward?
Thank you, Mr. Zassie.
Yes. Honorable Atasie.
Yeah. What I would say is that in politics, political conflicts are never resolved without a trustful give and take on both ends.
What you mean when you say trustful? What
I mean trustful is that somebody must trust you involved in a process to give in. Now, what do I mean? I disagree with the
Bash.
I disagree with the opinion that the FCT minister is not so involved in this. Okay. He's the central figure in this.
He's not so involved. He's not directly. He's not a direct player.
These conflicts, the assembly is rather only a third party. Wike is the central figure in this conflict. I don't know how to lie.
All right, go ahead.
Now, but because the Constitution does not acknowledge his role, it does not acknowledge his role as the central figure in this whole conflict. Now, the assembly is only a tool in his own hand. Now, if today this conflict can be resolved even without the assembly being involved, mark my word.
Okay.
If the president genuinely sits the FCT minister and the governor and says, this is what I want, and that when you go back, governor, you manage your people, Mr. FCT minister, you tell your assembly boys that this is what I want. When they go, this is the agreement. As long as there's a genuine intervention in this process and giving these people giving them their individual roles to make sure they reach an equilibrium, I can tell you this matter will be resolved without the assembly people being even part of the meeting. Anybody who is telling you that the conflict is between assembly and is only playing the ostrich card.
Okay. Now we know that state of emergencies in the past have swung left and right. I mean, in 1966, 65, 66, the state of emergency that was declared then snowballed into the Civil War. Although at the point in time, at that time, we were practicing the parliamentary system of government, but it snowballed into the Civil War. Then again, in this nascent democracy, state of emergency that was implemented by Olubasanjo did not go down well with the people of Plateau State, and then eventually Ekiti State, when it was going to when it saw that it was Governor Fayose was coming back, he declared another state of emergency there. That was political. And then President Jonathan declared state of emergency as well, but he did not remove the governors. Now, what in your own estimate, was the president right in removing the governors? Let's look at that angle now. Was the president right? And Bash, was it right in removing the governors, or was it a case of how would I put it now? What was that again now? Was it right?
I believe I'm in support of Mr. President. One, because the moment you declare state of emergency, that means the Constitution rule there has been suspended within that space of River State.
The one I was looking for was he had to include the governor this time around because of the doctrine of necessity, because the governor was involved.
Yes.
Because
the governor is a direct party to the conflict.
Involved. That's
the
why
House of Assembly is a direct party to the conflict.
The conflict was between both the governor and the National Assembly.
So the president was absolutely right. For me, I believe that that was the wisest thing to do.
Because if he had not done, he could have snowballed to another civil war. Maybe who knows?
So how do you okay?
At that time now, we'll not be saying. Okay. That time we'll be saying, had I known, I would have stopped it at that time. I would have nipped it in the bud. Had I known, but that time it has passed.
The House of Assembly is a symbol of democracy in the River State.
Yes.
So if you have
the president has
suspend House of Assembly. Are you going to suspend House of Assembly alone? You have to suspend both parties, so that at least you can all step back and
have a reset.
Yes, that's the wisest thing to do. Well, that's my opinion.
Salopobri. Yes, we're looking at the fact that the president could have declared a state of emergency without suspending the governor and the House of Assembly members. In your take, like I said, the first state of emergency that was declared snowballed into catastrophe or crisis. Eventually, we ended up in the Civil War. Do you think the president was wise in using his doctrine of necessity to suspend the major players, which is the governor and the assembly members? Because they say that he could have declared the state of emergency without suspending them. What's the IYC take?
Well, I have said this clearly in my press engagements in recent times.
Yes.
That we reject the declaration of state of emergency. Now, the conditions under which we reject that was that the president's intervention, was it right? Yes. But sacking the governor and the assembly together, was it right? No. Okay. Ask me how and why.
How and why?
If the intention, which we believe that the president had a genuine intention to intervene and de-escalate this skyrocketing conflict, if the intention was genuinely to solve the problem, then there was no point to create another constitutional chaos by sacking a governor and the state assembly together. I'm not sure our constitution there's any clause where in the course of state of emergency a whole branch of a government is completely eliminated.
Not just one branch, executive and the
legislature. Now, what I mean is the executive, many people believe that the governor is the cause of it, and therefore, because in time past, others have been sacked before, Darie and then Fayose of Ekiti State.
Yes.
Now, because there is a reference point,
does not make it right, right?
Exactly. Now, in solving the problem, we have created a dangerous twist in the Nigerian constitutional democracy, wherein a president, assuming if it's not Asiwaju, and a more daring president will decide that this governor is opposed to my ambition tomorrow. I will cause a small chaos in his state, and then declare a state of emergency to sack him, so that he can give room for a military administrator that will take instructions from Abuja. What happens? Are we moving? Are we making progress as a country? So this is beyond the individuals involved. This is a legacy for the future. And that's why actions must be well thought through. Now, the president in his wisdom felt that the festering crisis could snowball beyond what people are talking about. And therefore, in order to halt the degeneration of this conflict, he has declared a state of emergency. But in declaring the state of emergency, some of the areas we faulted were that the president did not blame the central figure in this conflict, but the government.
That's the minister.
Yes, he heaped the whole blame on this, and then the Attorney General, in his intervention, trying to explain as to why decision was reached, also went further to threaten other governors that may attempt to be stubborn. So that is, for me, a threat to democracy. There's some level of measure of independence of states. We're operating a federal system.
Yes.
So under a federal system, there's a measure of autonomy guaranteed by the Constitution, where states have powers to make their own laws and govern their own people under the federal law. So individual whims and caprices of those in Abuja must not come so plainly. Where the Attorney General said that this is a warning to other states, for me, that was uncalled for.
Okay.
More especially, this issue is not about the Ijaw people. The Ijaw people are Nigerian citizens. It's about our collective democracy and our heritage as a country. The world is watching. So we cannot think that Nigeria is living in isolation. So whatever we do, but
like you said, it's not about the Ijaw people. But because the governor is from Ijaw, the Ijaws have already almost taken it. Every Ijaw person now feels that it was not right. It was not right to have sacked the governor, forgetting the fact that the governor was a direct player in the whole conflict. That the president took the decision he took. Wait, hold on. That the president took the decision he took. To suspend, to declare a state of emergency and suspend the governor and the assembly members, because the quarrel, the crisis in Rivers State is between the governor and the assembly members. He more or less invoked the doctrine of necessity, although he does not have the constitutional rights. But under the doctrine of necessity, to avert a major crisis that will engulf the country, if not check out Benicio, he had to say, step aside. Like Bash said, step aside. Let us look at this thing. Let's see whether we can settle. It's just a matter of fact, if you ask me, because when the president declared the state of emergency, the governor had already been served impeachment notice.
Of course.
And from how democracy works, once you are served impeachment notice, it's 14 days countdown to impeachment. But although there was this clause that the state chief judge or whatever was on the governor's side, so it may be difficult for impeachment, but the process has started, so anything could happen. So if you ask me, I think the president did well, though. He did well, if you ask me. But then again, I'm the moderator here and the anchor person. My opinion should not come out to the front. But then again, my opinion comes out when I think that we may be construing the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President. He does not want anything that will truncate it. He wants things that will bring value to the table. Do you want to say something, Jonathan?
Honorable Atasie.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
If you followed my opinion line, I've continued to keep that reverence for the person of the president and the office he holds today as president and commander-in-chief.
Are two different things.
However, I will continue to respect his legacy as president of Nigeria.
Okay.
But no man born of a woman is devoid of faults and emotions.
Very true, very true.
The president, I believe that with the kind of reactions that his decision aimed at intervening to solve a problem, I'm very sure that himself has reflected that maybe there could have been a better way to solving this problem. But like I said, I am more solution-driven than reliving in the past that we cannot correct.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that can lead towards resolving this conflict, first, the man they appointed from Abuja.
That's the sole administrator.
The sole administrator.
Okay, what
I'm just aware that the head of service has just resigned.
What the head of service has just resigned in Rivers State?
Resigned this morning. He has also just appointed a new secretary to the government of Rivers State, which is within his right. But the question is, what happened that the head of service just resigned? Or are they coming to implement a policy framework favoring Abuja as against what Rivers people want, and then the person couldn't bear, so he's giving way? We are also informed that there's a plan to also sack the chief judge of Rivers State. Now, if the essence of intervention is to solve a problem so that warring parties can sit together and work towards a common solution, which is victory for Rivers people, and then the ambitions of individual must not come to play.
Yes.
But it has to be collective, and that's why we are clearly watching the kind of people that will be appointed in this cabinet as commissioners and then special advisors. Remember, our attention was drawn when those in Abuja accompanied the new sole administrator as their own and not as an intervention. The world is watching keenly.
Well,
so my appeal is that, like the National Assembly, in their wisdom, tried to review some of the hard lines or the positions given to the administrator, thereby modifying the guidelines given by the presidency that the sole administrator is only answerable to
him.
To the presidency, but rather subject to National Assembly's also review, which was a wise decision. Now, one danger that the whole world is watching out is that this was the same money they refused to release to the governor because, according to the Supreme Court judgment.
That's money he released. That was the Supreme Court judgment. But what money he released was local government outstanding funds, which he released to other local governments as well. He has not released a Rivers State FAC Well, what
I listened to the Attorney General Kinley,
yeah.
and he said that the River State money would be released to the administrator.
Yeah, would be, but it
So
hasn't
please,
been. It hasn't been.
we are closely monitoring that. This is not a time where the administrator will come and change policy line of government and think that he has eternity to award contracts and then exhaust River State people's money. That money must be
Accounted
kept
for.
intact. That money is not political money that they will use this
that money-
6 months. Hold on.
Okay.
I know why I'm stressing this.
Yes, go on.
First, we have hope that SIM is disposed to peaceful resolution of the issues, and therefore, we believe that within 3 months, SIM would be back in office.
Okay. Are you negotiating? Are you working towards that? Because
We are working, that's why job people, we are meeting with leaders to make sure that we give no room for any wrong suspicion. We are working towards peace.
okay.
And therefore, the template for peace must be made available in plain language.
But sacking
And therefore,
sacking
the minister must also be willing, not just by smooth prophesying of patriotism by a phone call to listen. What are the templates when SIM comes? Will they be willing to sit their swords and then shift grounds for peace to take place? It's key. Sometimes an enemy will just to fulfill all righteousness say, I've called him just to keep a down call, but never willing to shift any ground. So the governor of Bayelsa and the IYC, the INC, and other leaders of the John Nation are meeting regularly to make sure that our region do not suffer another round of violent, unnecessary interventions where our environment is always at the receiving end. Okay. This issue is beyond just providing oil for Nigeria, but our environment that is always the center for destruction. So Abuja must sincerely help that peace process, where people will not have their hard lines on the table of discussions. And we will directly be involved, we would like to be involved in that peace process.
Okay, Sir Lokpobri, you have spoken well, you have spoken like a leader, and you have spoken with someone that is blessed amongst youths, and I'm happy to have you and to be associated with you. But looking at this Bash, from what he has said, looking at this recent implementation or recent news that's just coming, do you think that peace is anywhere nearby? Because I know that the former head of service of River State is a German. He was the former minister of sports, and then he was also the secretary to the government of River State. Now the head of service as well has resigned. Wouldn't that cause for more escalated tension?
That is why I believe, you see, in the first instance, Mr. President has one of the best democratic credentials you can talk about amongst the politicians in Nigeria presently. And he has proved this on countless occasions.
Yeah.
Right from June 12th till now, he has not faltered.
So he's a Democrat.
He's a Democrat. The problem of trust threshold that we have crossed in our nation, that a simple gentleman's agreement will be observed or will be looked at with a lot of suspects. It is time for us to sit down. Nobody can cut anybody's heart out to see what is actually sipping inside it. So you can't say that that what Abuja has is not genuine, and what Rivers has is not genuine. The two parties must come up with solutions, bear their mind. There's no problem with conflict. It is the resolution that's important. The president has given an opportunity for these parties to resolve. That is, the governor and the House of Assembly. Because I really wouldn't want to bring the minister into this discourse, because he has no direct influence in the matter. But you can say probably he's a party to getting the House of Assembly members elected. If you are disloyal, does not mean others should be disloyal. It probably won't follow your line of thought. But the truth.
Sorry, okay. Before I let you continue on that angle. What's your advice to the sole administrator that Mr. President appointed?
The sole administrator is a military man.
Yes.
And I know.
But I mean, what's your advice to him? Seeing what the recent decisions that he has just taken.
Yes,
he's capable of escalating the tension in Rivers State. He's capable.
It's capable,
yes.
But I believe that for response, like I've heard from Sir Jonathan,
yes,
he's a very responsible leader. I believe that they will have to all sit down and understand his direction.
Yes.
Or they can meet with him, because the sole administrator is going to be approachable by all parties.
Yes.
They should go to him and find out, okay, why is this so? But you cannot tell a man in charge
what to do and what not
of
to
an
do.
office what to do and what not to do. He probably felt and saw some internal issues that he had to check if they were not following the direction of his own instructions, because he has instructions from Mr. President to restore peace and order in the state. Peace and order is not just an easy thing when you have conflicting parties. Yes. So if he sees that the secretary of the government is not with him, because he's meant to carry out his instructions, and if he's not getting that feedback, he has every right to do away with him. And placing such responsibility on the sole administrator's hands too, he has to rise up to the occasion and deliver
on the mandate
given to him by Mr. President. Yes. I believe that he's a responsible man. We've seen him.
Do you think that the state of emergency is going to last it's going to last 6 months?
I don't believe so. If these people, if they can all come together and resolve, if they think of the citizens of Rivers State and they want progress in Rivers State, they should all come together.
Okay, Sir Lokobri, we're running out of time. We have just 1 minute to go. What with this decision that the sole administrator has taken? How is it going down? I hope it's not going down negatively with the IYC. And what's the IYC's advice to Mr. President? What's your statement to Mr. President? Just a quick one so we can wrap it up.
Mr. President,
yes,
you are not just father of a nation, but you are also the only person that truly can rekindle the hopes of Nigerians. Nigerians are losing hope so fast, especially with the high cost of life today. Now, because you have proven over time that you care, you genuinely care about the growth, the peace, and stability of your people over time. And that's why even when decisions are hard on people, because of the respect people have for the president's personality and his legacy over time, people can swallow some of their bitter pills. In this conflict, Ijaw people, Niger Delta youths are waiting for your genuine intervention by ensuring that all parties abide by your instruction for peace and restoration of a democratic governance in Rivers State within 3 months.
Okay.
In all sincerity, we cannot wait for 6 months.
All right, Nigerians, you have heard the president of the Ijaw Youth Congress, Sir Jonathan Lokobri, on the Renewed Hope Agenda, the way forward, on radio, Citizens FM 93.7, and you have heard the position of the Asiwaju camp as have been demonstrated by the patron of Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu Support Group, Kwara State Branch, Engineer Malam Abdul Momoni Bashir. It's been a fantastic time on radio. I hope I've been able to turn your radio on. I hope I've been able to satisfy you on this state of emergency that is ongoing, that the brouhaha going on in Rivers. I hope we've been able to have a great time with me. My name is Sam Atasoboro. Until next week when I come your way again. You miss me, you miss a fantastic time on radio. Stay with me. We're going to have a great time together. I'm out of here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you very much.
Can I have a minute?
Okay. Bash, you want to say something before we roll?
Yes, I just want the Minister of the Federal Capital to pay attention on our traffic. The traffic lights seem not to be useful anymore because we see people running all over it.
How do you know? That's what happened to me just as I was coming here.
Yeah. So the minister should really pay attention on it and improve on our traffic
and
system.
our environment, the gutters, they're stinking along the express and stuff like that. They're using it as identification ground. Minister, FCT, yes, on Wiki, please send your environmental people to do better.
Thank you.
Thank you and goodbye.
Tune in to Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja for the live coverage of the Enlightening Ramadan Tafsir session by Professor Isa Ali Pantani.